every year when the Oscars happen, it is tradition that I do a list, if you will, of the ways they really need to improve the Oscars. And it changes from year to year because every year they do tinker, they improve some things, they fix some things, some other things go wrong, whatever. So the list kind of changes. I will say this before we get into other stuff. I think they finally nailed the music stuff. I used to hate the Oscars when they would literally take 15 minutes, 20 minutes of screen time to have every single best song nominee get to do a full musical number. It's like director is way more important than a single song from a movie, yet the single songs from movies are getting 10 times the screen time as direct. It never made any sense to me. I thought last night they killed it. And I think so and I've heard people say it's not fair to the other song nominees that they didn't get to perform. Screw it. Everybody knew it was either going to be I Lied to You or Golden. Nobody on the planet didn't know it was going to be one of those two. And nobody wanted to hear any of the other songs other than those two. No disrespect to the other nominees at all, but the truth is the truth. So I was fine with that. So this is going to be the first year, Rob, I can ever remember where my list of things that they need to do to improve the Oscars does not include the music. First time.
Those musical numbers, the Sinners, the way the cameraman just got in there and was going from moment to moment that was such a cool performance. And so was
a lot of them were actually the people from the movie.
I know. I loved it. I just loved it. I loved that piece of music. I loved everybody playing. It was awesome. And I loved how people were coming out of the audience. And I loved how after the song was kind of over, they kept playing and they played out to the commercial. Yeah. It was awesome.
It was great. So now, though, there are things they need to continue to fix and improve. And I got 5 of them here. And then, Rob, I'm going to go over see if you've got any others. And I'm sure you guys will have some ideas. And some of these you'll agree with. Some of them you won't agree with. And if you don't agree with some of them, that's okay. You're allowed to be wrong. All right. Let's get things started. These are in no particular order. Okay, no particular order. But the one I'm going to start off with is this. The Oscars need to mandate theatrical first rule for Oscar eligibility. Prioritize cinema over streaming. I have said it before, and I've yet to hear a valid argument against this. For the history of the mediums, theatrical movies are honored at the Oscars. Television movies are honored at the Emmys. If you want to be a television movie, there's nothing wrong with that. But recognize those where they belong to be recognized, which is as a TV movie at the Emmys. The Emmys celebrate TV movies, made-for-TV movies. That's what a Netflix original is. It's a made-for-TV movie. If it's not in theaters, it's a TV thing. You need to prioritize. I will make an exception. Even I, Rob, will make an exception for documentary films and short films because right or wrong, fair or unfair, people generally don't run out to the theaters to go see documentaries or short films. So I would make an exception for those, personally.
They're also not played a lot. You don't have access.
Yeah, there's not access to them for people. So I would make an exception for documentaries and short features or short form. But I think the Oscars need to mandate theatrical films. So that's the one thing. But I felt that way forever. All right. The second thing is, and I railed on this last night during my live stream watching the Oscars, get tighter with the acceptance speech lengths, enforce the time limits and keep the show moving. And this is more of a criticism of the nominees than it is of the Oscars themselves. Last night, I got so frustrated because I'm watching it and there was a tie for best short live action, which I got to go into the math about how in a preferred ballot system, how does a tie happen? Not the first time it's happened, but it hasn't happened in a while.
By the way, I had seen both of those movies.
What's that?
I had seen both of the two. One of them was on Netflix. The Singers, was it called The Singer?
Yeah.
Which I loved. And the other one, Swapping Spit or whatever it's called, two people swapping saliva. A member of my channel, Victoria, who's been a longtime member, sent it to me. So this is the first time ever watching the Oscars that I had seen actually.
Any of the short
and then they both won.
And they both won.
So I was like, wow.
And so you already have a challenge because now you got to double up the acceptance speech time. So the first winners went up first. Great acceptance speech, walked off. Then the second set of winners came up. And they thought they were Adrian Brody because they went on and on and on and started talking about a friend's baby and then went on and on. And they tried to play the music. They even dimmed the lights and all that kind of stuff. And listen, I get it. I get it. I get it. I had, people writing into me saying, well, John, this is the biggest moment in their careers. Fuck that. Everybody who won last night, it was the most highest peak level of their careers, and yet they all stayed within the time frame. Every nominee, I know this for a fact, every nominee is instructed, hey, if you happen to win, remember, you've got this amount of time, and they are also told, Rob, if there is a group of you that needs to go up to accept, because there's 2 writers or 3 producers or whatever it is, pick one person to be your spokesperson. They tell them this. They are told this.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but when you decide to go over your allotted time, what you are saying is, I'm more important than everybody else. I'm more important than every other nominee. I'm more important than every other winner. And I'm more important than everybody using their time to watch this show tonight, both in the theater and at home. F you, praise me. That's it. I'm sure that's not what was going through their heads, but that's the effective result of it. So I remember it used to be like thinking, oh, what a shame that the Oscars played that person off. No, that person knew exactly how much time they had if they won. It's like, but John, it's a big moment for them. Yeah. And so they got to go up on stage. They got to be applauded by their peers, and they got handed a golden statue that gives them bragging rights for the rest of their lives, their children's lives, and their grandchildren's lives. Now, say your thank yous and get off the stage. And I really like the fact that Adrian Brody, who I like a lot, I love Adrian Brody.
That was a really funny bit he did, too.
But what he did last year was a disgrace. Because that was the ultimate thing of that. Like, I'm more important, so everybody, you're just going to have to put up with this. I love the fact that it was the elephant in the room, and they made fun of the elephant in the room. That Adrian Brody himself leaned into it. I thought that was a great way to handle that at the end. But yeah, for all future nominees, you're not more important than everybody else. When they tell you how much time you have, be ready to have that much time and then move on. You're not more important than everybody. So just shut up. Because, and I'm tired of hearing from people who say the same thing, Rob. Oscars should be shorter and don't cut off the acceptance speeches. Pick one. You don't get to have both. Somebody wrote to me today, and I said, well, did you notice that certain categories are allotted a little bit more time before they start playing the music? Yes. They said, well, that isn't fair. I'm like, yes, it is. Yes, it is fair. Because 99, you can argue with this all you want. It's a fact. 99.99999% of the people watching at home don't care about animated short. 99.99999% of the people watching at home don't care about documentary short. I'm not saying they shouldn't be recognized, but acknowledge the fact that the Oscars are also for the billion people sitting in their homes around the world watching the show. And they care more about hearing Michael B. Jordan's speech. They care more about hearing Ryan Coogler's speech. They care more about hearing the winner of Best Director and the winner of Best Picture. And they care more about that. So yes, a little bit more time is allotted to that. You can cry all you want about fair. It is what it is. And you have to recognize that. Take your moment of glory and move on. So yes, they have to get these things buttoned up and be more strict with them. Like, honestly, I don't even think they should just play. Like, you start to play the music to give a warning. So somebody, in case, because, Rob, we're all human. You lose track of time. Right?
Rob.
You get it. I mean, all of us. I'm not trying to point out Rob, but we all lose track of time. And so you start fading in the music just as a, hey, you got to move off now. But then if you don't stop after about 10 seconds that music's been playing, trapdoor. That's the next thing they need to do. Forget lights off. You put a trap door where that microphone is, and you still talking 10 seconds after the music's playing, trap door. See you next year. Anyway, that's me.
I don't think that one's happening, but
let's move on to the third thing, shall we? The third thing they got to do is reduce the overly long presenter bits. And there weren't many offenders of this year, but I'm going to point out and call out and center out the bridesmaids bit. I loved having all the bridesmaids come out. That was great. How long did they say it's been since that movie came out?
20 years.
I can't remember. I just about choked though when they said how long it's been since Bridesmaids. Still one of my favorite comedies. It's amazing. But that just went on and on and on. And I'm going to mention something else about this Bridesmaids bit in a minute. Even I love seeing Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans come out, but even that was kind of stretched out a bit. I think they need to tighten these things up.
Plus, that bit wasn't funny.
Which one?
The one between Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr.
No.
Somebody should have written them something way better than that.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, look, the presenter bit comes down to how well it's, like, I love Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor. That was great. Because
Yes.
they're celebrating love.
But it was short and punchy.
Yeah.
And Moulin Rouge is in my top 20 all-time favorite
and that was really well done, and they were charming. But when Robert Downey, it seemed like they were making it up. I mean, it wasn't. You got to stay
The only
on
funny
point.
part of that whole thing was when Channing Tatum yelled from the audience, I'm going to need that back.
Well, yeah, that
was funny, but everything else is just too drawn out. So between the bridesmaids things and a lot, you just got to tighten up these presenter bits. We love seeing the presenters come out, give them a funny line or two, and then move on. Because that thing dragged out, especially the bridesmaids one, man, that just dragged out way too long. All right. That segues us into my fourth thing that they really need to do, and that is this. They need to tighten up the technical aspects of the show because there were so many technical glitches. Like there was even one point where there was this really awkward thing where we had come back, cameras on Conan, and Conan's like, what are we doing? What's happening?
Yeah.
And then they had to wait, and agonizing second after second after second. And then he handled it really well. He goes, are we back? One never knows. And that was a good way to handle it, like that. But going back to the bridesmaids bit, there was an unfortunate irony about the fact that they were presenting, one of the things they were presenting was best sound. And while presenting best sound, they had botched Melissa McCarthy's microphone. Her microphone was literally digging into her neck. And so you'd hear Maya Rudolph, la, 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 la. And you hear another cast member, la, la, la. Then you'd hear Melissa McCarthy.
We also want to recognize that the next
It was bad.
And it was like, come on, guys. Like, this is the Oscars. You had a year to technically produce and be ready for
Live
this.
shows, man.
Live shows. Don't we know it? Don't we know it? But anyway, they really need to tighten up on the technical aspects. The fifth thing, and I never thought I would say this, but I've heard arguments to it. I listen to arguments. I used to argue against this, but people have won me over. I think they should expand Best Director to 10 nominees. Bring that up, Jonathan.
Maybe.
I think they need to expand Best Director category to 10 nominees. Not anything else. Nothing else. Because the most responsible person for the quality of a movie is the director. And it has always felt weird to have 10 nominees for Best Picture, but only 5 nominees for Best Director.
Right.
And because like with screenplay, you get 10 nominees because they split it up over original screenplay,
Yeah.
adapted screenplay. I get that. Now I will never advocate that they should have 10 nominees for Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor or Best Editing or anything else like that. But I think I have been won over. I used to be against it, but I've been won over now that I think, yeah, you know what? 10 Best Picture nominees, 10 Best Director nominees.
It's just awkward.
It's just like, that's the awkward one. It does.
You're saying
yeah.
these 10 movies were so great, but the guys and women who directed them, only half of them were good.
You know what? I think it's only happened twice. I could be wrong about this. Correct me if I'm wrong in the live chat. I think it's only happened twice where the Best Picture winner did not have their director nominated for Best Director. Argo with Ben Affleck, and I think there was one other.
Yeah.
So essentially, anyway, it's only happened twice in the 90 whatever years. So I think they need to expand to 10 nominees. So again,
So are you saying that the 10 Best Director, the 10 Best Picture nominees should also just have their directors automatically?
I do. And again, I've argued against that for a long time. I think right now I've been won over a little
they
bit.
should just bring the Best Picture nominees back to 5 because they did that to get people to watch the show.
Well,
And this, I mean, it always comes down to front runners.
I think the reason they did it it's the same reason why college football expanded the national champion playoff, in that when it was only 4, there are such arguments about it shouldn't be this 4, should be that 4. And the thought process is, if you expand out the number of entrants, the argument about who should be in weakens, right? Because in the top 4, you can make an argument for 2 or 3 of the other teams that absolutely should have been in it. But once you expand it to 12 teams, hey, listen, if your team ranked number 13th, 14th, or 15th, you really have no business being in anyway, so don't worry about it. And I think because the last year, the final year of the Oscars that had 5 Best Picture nominees, you know this well, was the year of The Dark Knight. And everybody knows that had there been 6 nominees, Dark Knight would have been nominated for Best Picture. And I think they realize if we expand it to 10 nominees, it really gets rid of that argument, because I don't recall a lot of arguments about films that absolutely 100% should have been nominated for Best Picture once they expanded it to 10, because you lose the power of that argument the more you have. So I would not be against going back to 5 Best Picture nominees. I've always been okay with the 10, but I wouldn't be against going to 5. But I think if you're going to have 10, I say have 10 Best Director nominees too. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Factor. Hey guys, you know how it is. Between the daily live show, tracking the latest box office numbers, and planning our next movie meetup in the van, my schedule gets absolutely hectic. Now, somewhere between the first warm weekend and realizing short season is getting close, eating well stops just being optional. Factor is how we stop letting a busy schedule be our excuse. They provide fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs. I had their smoky Gouda mac and shredded beef after a long editing session last week on that Spider-Man Rights video I did, and it was amazing. So whether you're looking for calorie smart options or the new Muscle Pro collection, which is perfect if you're getting back into a workout routine, they have 100 rotating weekly meals to keep things fresh. And the best part? They are always fresh, never frozen, and ready in just 2 minutes with zero prep and zero stress. I love it, and I think you will too. So head over to factormeals.com/Campea50off and use the code Campea50off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. Anyway, Rob, I listed off a bunch. You have thoughts on any of them, or do you have any you'd like to add to that list?
Well, you know, I some of them, look, I like hearing from the presenters if the material is great. Like I told you earlier before we started the show, I thought Anna Wintour and Anne Hathaway
that was the best bit for presenters.
That was so genius to bring her out. I mean, I think a lot of people didn't realize that's the woman that Meryl Streep's playing in Devil Wears Prada. And it was just so funny. And Anne Hathaway, I've seldom in my life seen a woman look as beautiful as Anne Hathaway looked in that dress and that choker she had on. She's all class. If the material's great, I love seeing stars come out and do bits if they're good. I really do. There's something about seeing it. It adds to the mystique of it. But when the material's not well written or they're winging it, like Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., I'm like, oh, you guys you're so much better together. Like that one thing where did you eat the last red, white, and blue sprinkled donut? You know, that one thing they did. And then Elizabeth Olsen screams. That's way funnier than what they did last night on the show. And so I like it when it's funny. I think that you're absolutely right. The presenter speeches, you need to, if you're going to win, I would almost say...
You mean the winner speeches?
I mean, yeah, pardon me, the winner speeches. If you're going to win, you should have practiced that. You should understand you're going up, and if you're going to have multiple people speak, it should be like...
Yep.
You know, and you got to practice that. Or, better yet, have everybody's acceptance speeches vetted first. Make them look at all 5 of the nominees or look at their speeches first so they know what they're going to get. Because then people ramble and they get nervous and they don't know, and it goes on and on and on. But you know, when I hear Michael B. Jordan speak, I'm like, I'll listen to what you're going to say. So like you said, we want to hear from those actors.
But even he didn't go he was very concise.
Nope. No. He remembered the lesson from Adrian Brody of last year,
and
he kept it succinct.
And it was classy.
It was so classy.
So good.
Yeah.
And so was Jesse Buckley's speech, by the way.
Oh.
We'll go into the
that was,
life a little bit.
but
later.
it was great. But that's I mean I tend to agree with you that the show and also I would the one thing, my overall criticism of last night's show, and we were talking about, it's not that Conan O'Brien wasn't a great host, but his material was low key.
It was kind of flat,
It was
to be
flat.
honest. There's a few highlights, but it was kind of flat.
I want the glamour and the glitz. The Oscars are a glamorous and glitzy event. One thing I really did like about last night's presenters is overall people talked about what a collaborative medium it was. That you needed the world to now make movies, which I thought was really good. And I think that I really appreciated. But every time we went to Conan O'Brien, he kind of brought the glitz and glamour down because the comedy bits, some of them were funny.
It
Like
brought
Jane
the
Lynch.
energy level down, too.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to that from Conan O'Brien.
Right, me neither.
Again, there were a couple of really big highlight moments from him, but
It's tough because you're dealing with these tonal shifts, but sometimes, like we talked about, we'll talk later, but the In Memoriam segment slayed, and those musical numbers were great.
well, again, we'll go into stuff that we liked later. But those are the things that I would like to see improved in the Oscars moving forward. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think? Do you have some areas after watching the Oscars last night that you think the Oscars need to improve upon? Do you like or disagree with any of the ones that I have? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.